Marching band, obviously you want to sound good, but it's really about the environment and the culture that we build, and that is what builds us higher as musicians as well.
A big thing for us was how to immediately make people say, I made the right decision. From the moment a kid rolls up with their parents or whoever in a car, it's like you're greeted by band members and you're like, welcome to band camp.
We started with subsectionals, so that means that each individual instrument had its own rehearsal essentially. And then they moved us into sectionals, which is all the brass was together and all the woodwinds were together. And then we were able to come together as a full band, and it sounded so cool. And I remember just being like, oh my gosh, it's happening, right? All these months of prep, and then it sounded so cool when we were all together.
Yeah, so if you want to start working on the fight song, I sent it over to some of the... Everybody's coming from all different types of programs. The process and procedures that we use are strict because it's hard to get a couple hundred people to do anything at the same time in the same way. But the environment doesn't need to be that. They're not one and the same. I think programs and teams and companies are guided from the top down, but they're built from the ground up. If it's just me, then I'm gonna have to use the students to help me build this. We did student leadership auditions, and then I put those individuals in place, and they are the ones that help me run literally everything.
It was hard as a student leadership team. We were there for a week before everyone else joined, and I think that really helped in all of that culture building. It was a lot easier to create a good culture and a strong environment when we ourselves had one. And so we were fortunate enough to have that time to do so. And we were able to bring that to everyone else. And I think that the student leadership team, being so close ourselves, really brought our sections together as well.
Let me see. I need to try and get in the press box because I was supposed to get keys, but then I got sucked into a drama meeting. I think this is my 15th year teaching the activity, and you name it, I've experienced it. You just have to figure it out.
I'm already laughing. So again, been with Professor Cooney a long time. If it needs to happen, it's gonna happen.
I could climb through this window, maybe.
She noticed the window was open and she did what had to be done. And I think that that's a really important trait in her as a leader. And in her mind, all she's thinking is, I need to get in there for the band.
Who needs a key to the press box?
But she knew that we were going to be the most successful if she got in that press box.
Use the gas. We went over what that is.
That was a really cool moment for everyone to see her, kind of prioritizing us.
If there's an obstacle, I'm always gonna find a way around it. So press box locked, that's nothing.
That was proof that if somebody tells you no, you just keep on swimming.
The student leadership team had a few days to learn what we are now calling the Rowan style of marching. It was really cool, but it was really difficult learning how to march.
6, 7, place, switch.
So we went through days of learning each and every single step that was going to be put onto that field, and then we were taught how to teach all of those steps. And it was really cool to feel that knowledge be passed on to us and to see it in my fellow SLT members.
Up until this point, we've taught you formally, I march to my thing, deep, 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 and then you get to set 9. Set 9 to set 10, you don't march formally to it. You literally party and jam to your spot.
She was like, you can party to your spots. So of course everybody's like, yay, we're gonna go to our spots. And I think that because a lot of people came from high school programs, our march band is bop, 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 bop. And then being told they can just party to their spots, they were like, what do I do?
Look at her go.
I think that that was like really cool for people to, you know, kind of notice, like, it doesn't have to all be serious all the time.
It's hard to imagine the football experience without a college marching band. They're like a very pivotal part of the game day experience.
Professor Cooney had come to me and said, they want the football players to come and learn the fight song in the alma mater. And she said, would you lead that? And I was like, would I what? I had no idea what I was in store for. I'm like, I can sing it for the football players, sure. But then Wednesday rolls around and I had no idea how big a football team was.
Hi guys, welcome. Welcome to our little corner of the world.
It was so fun. The football players were so receptive to learning and they were so excited to start and like carry on these traditions. The football players loved it. They loved seeing that connection between us and them and seeing them all just like sway. It just felt like everything was just coming together. Like, I really think that was a cool moment for everyone involved to see that connection between the two groups.
This is awesome. Remember, we were talking about this before COVID. This is unbelievably awesome.
It was cool, I think, for the band to see how invested the football players were, and I think it was really cool for the football players to like hear that like what we do is real and like what we do can really impact everyone else. I felt like I not only had a purpose as someone within the band, but I felt like the band as a whole suddenly had a purpose.
Yeah, thanks for bringing them in. Thank you.
Right now, in society and life, we're in a really interesting time. I think it's important to create spaces where people can just have fun and they feel like they're a part of a community. And I think it's really cool that I don't have to do very much now because the students are perpetuating that environment. And I also think it's really important to plug those little moments into society because we don't often get to interact in those environments. Coolest part was actually at the end of band camp when we had like a thing, you know, movement 1, moving and playing, and I was like, wow, we did it. So like people who were strangers 6 days ago, they can like now do a thing together and they all know what's happening, but they didn't even know each other 6 days ago.
We know that there's pressure from like us on ourselves to do the best that we can because we've seen what we can do, which is like this awesome level of functioning. No matter what we do, everyone is gonna just be excited, they're gonna love it. No matter what happens on that field on Saturday night, we have to be proud of everything that we've done, where we've come from, which was literally nothing. That's such a historic moment.
Please welcome to the field your new Rowan University Pride of the Profs Marching Band presenting their 2023 program, Rowan Through the Years.